Okay, if you're the responsible friend and everybody comes to you for advice and they tell you way too much, you will relate to this episode. So without further ado, and without a longer intro, let's just get to it. Hey everybody, this is Anthony. Let's just get to it, my friends. I'm sick and tired of being a little bit too reliable, man. I'm at the point now where I've been giving my friends advice, and because I've been giving them advice and the advice has actually worked out, it's actually put me in a position now where they ask for too daggone much advice, right? I might have to actually change my phone system in the house. Right now it's just the phone, but I might have to change the phone system in my house and turn it into a groove where I have several lines open, right? Maybe I should have office hours. So when people call me asking me for some frigging advice, I can say, I'm going to have to schedule your session for another time. Oh my goodness. And I love helping my friends, right? But when you give too much good advice and your advice has been too accurate and you slip up not that often, I mean very rarely slip up to the point where when you slip up, you've not slipped up so often that even when you do slip up, they overlook it, right? Oh no. And they never stop. It never stops. It's a tsunami of questions and what would you do, buddy? Oh. And not only that, I'm the person that everybody knows that they can trust. So what happens is if there's any kind of important packages or any kind of important mail, you know what happens? Exactly. They send that crap to me. We know you're going to be there because we know you're going to be there and we know you're going to take care of it and we can trust you. Oh, I'm getting sick of these people trusting me with crap. I need to lose a couple of pieces of mail. Yeah, I said it. I need a couple of things that they deliver to the house to, air quotes, accidentally get a couple of chips in it. Hey man, what happened? There's a chip in it. Oh, I'm so sorry. My fault. Yeah, I said it. I need to wait until some important crap that's time sensitive comes up, act like I don't have it, and then give them just enough time to barely get done what they need to get done to let them sweat so they won't keep sending me their stupid crap. I'm tired of being reliable. I'm sick of that crap. And I was, there's a part of me that is, when you watch a movie or a TV program and on one shoulder there's the devil and on the other shoulder there's an angel, right? Just imagine two little Anthonys sitting on my shoulders. On one shoulder, it's like, hey, I know you're in the middle of something that's important to you and this idiot is asking you for advice. I get it. But you don't need to tell this punk anything. Yeah, give him some bad advice. Or give him some advice that's only kinda good. Yeah, I said it. Right? And then there's the angel on the other shoulder looking at me going, you giving these idiots advice that's so good over the course of decades that even if you mess up a whole bunch of times in a row, your overall track record is going to be so good that the idiots are going to keep coming back to you. In fact, they'll come back to you more often because they're going to start thinking, well, I don't want to stop getting advice from him because he made a couple of bad moves. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, just so he'll feel better about himself and get back in the groove and get back to feeling like he gives good advice, I'm going to ask for even more advice and stuff because I don't want him to feel bad. Because that's exactly what would happen. Yeah, I said it. Now, when you help your friends, it feels really, really good. You watch those movies where they come to they always have that one friend that's kind of hovers around all the other friends. They go to that friend gives advice, and near the end of the movie, the advice works out. and you see the person and the music starts to pump up, because that's the end of the movie when the good thing happens to the person that takes the advice. Bing, ding, ding, boom, boom, ding, ding, ding. You know, darling, I'm so glad it worked out with us. I'm glad too. Finally, we're on the right track, and I see a great life with us together. Boom, boom, ding, boom, boom, ding, ding. And then you walk into the room, you see them slobbing each other down, like, look at that, right? And then the person who you gave advice sees you, gives you a little head tip, a wink, and a thumbs up, and you return the favor back to them. You give them the head nod, the wink, and the thumbs up, right? And then it freezes with you smiling, and then it cuts back to them, and it freezes with them smiling, right? And then the girlfriend sees you and goes, ah, laughing as if, so that's where you got those great ideas from. What a guy. I'm so glad you got a friend like him. And then they start laughing. And then they motion you over and you go, me, as if you're not going to go over there. And then you walk over there. And then the movie or the TV program goes off. Oh, you see, when that happens in the movies and the TV programs, it's great because it just kind of stops right there. But they never show you what happens in real life after that. Do you know what happens? This guy becomes so confident in your advice and counsel, he starts asking you questions and advice about everything. And then all of a sudden, you see a familiar number and you're like, oh God, that's my boy and everything, but I'm trying to watch this game and eat the stromboli. Let me just give him this quick advice or whatever it is. And it's his new wife. Right, and you're thinking she's calling, and she's going to say, "Bill's is on the way. He said he wanted me to call you. He'll be there in a minute." And then all of a sudden, she starts talking about stuff, which is not a big deal. You're a friend of the couple, but it's usually more appropriate if, like, say you're sitting at a bar with them or at a restaurant with them, and you're with your significant other, or you're just hanging out as a group, and maybe a couple of people go to the bathroom, and you fall in the conversation, but you realize she's calling you to ask for some advice. It's not a big deal. Maybe she was calling for him, or he called and said, okay, if he picks up the phone, keep him talking, and I'll be back downstairs in a second. But you start to realize, oh no. She's not calling for him. She's not holding the phone for him. She's calling for herself. And it always starts off with, you know Bill so well. I was wondering. Oh, no, God. Oh, please. His birthday's like 8 months from now, so she's not going to ask me what to get him as a guy that's known him longer than she's known him, what to get him for his birthday. Oh, they had an argument. Okay, I think I know what to do with this. And then she starts talking, and you realize, oh, no. Bing, dun, 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 dun. Sex stuff. Oh, God, no. Please, God, no. And she starts talking about stuff, and she tries to be subtle about it, but she starts asking stuff, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, I've known him for decades, but I've never had sex with him, so I don't really know how to answer this question, new girlfriend. What do I mean, you like him, you guys are kind of the same type of guy, you know, maybe, I mean, if I did this, I do not want to think about my boy's genitals and what you're going to do to them, and apparently we do not like the same stuff, and now I'm going to look at him funny, because I'm not going to say what she said. But sometimes, you're familiar with the phrase, things you can't unsee, right? And it happens on the internet all the time. You see something on the internet and you're like, oh, God, and that picture sticks in your mind for a long time. It could be something very, very violent. It could be something gross. It could be one of, you watch those videos where the lady was a Dr. Pimple Popper and you see her pop a zit. Right. And that's kind of gross, but not a big deal because as a kid, you've popped your own zit. And then you'll see one where there's a zit on somebody's back the size of a Toyota Corolla. And she pops that thing And it looks, you ever seen those magician tricks where it looks like he's pulling a whole bunch of towels out of something small and it just won't stop? Well, imagine if instead of towels or ribbons coming out of a small thing like a magician's trick, imagine if it's all yellow and it's coming out of a newly, freshly scalpeled open hole in the back of someone unfortunate enough to have a whole bathtub full of pus in their back. Oh, God. Oh. That's the level of grossness of which I speak. And she's telling me this crap. She's become way too comfortable. I've had this dance before. Oh, when my friends' wives and girlfriends become comfortable with me, which happens very, very quickly. And they know I know my friends very, very well. And inevitably, they always get around to telling me stuff. Even your best friend who you think tells you everything does not tell you everything. You may know 95% about your best friend. You've known him or her since you were both 5 or 10 or 15. In my case, with some of the friends that I know, it's been that long, right? But there's a part of themselves that they keep to themselves. There's a part of themselves that they only display to their significant other. And unfortunately, as I stated, their significant others have become very comfortable with me. Oh, when I'm here, and my friends that are listening to me right now, you don't even realize how many Pus Back Stories I've heard about you sickos. Right? I call it a Pus Back Story because, as I've just said, when you see Dr. Pimple Popper bust a pus ball in somebody's back and the crap's gross, some of the stuff I know about my friends because their girlfriends felt comfortable with me were as bad as Pus Back Stories, and I need to hear it. I had a friend of mine that I've known. I'm 52 years old. I've known this dude since I was 10. We were both almost exactly the same age. I think you were in the same class in school, so we're the same age, basically, a couple months apart. We've known each other that long, and I've known all of his girlfriends, and every one of his girlfriends became friends with me, and every single one of them, because I give him advice, and the advice worked, have a really good track record with that. Eventually, they wanted to hear my take on things, and they got a little too comfortable, and they started talking about stuff. So basically, I have a depraved Pus Back series of stories from one of my old friends, and I knew about his disgusting proclivities since the beginning of time of him getting it on up until now. Oh. And I'm not telling tales out of school. He actually walked into the room one time when his girlfriend was on the phone with me, and he likes to do this, and I was wondering, do guys like when women? And he's like, what the hell are you doing? Hey, that's my boy, but good Lord, he don't want to hear that. And I said back through the phone, he's right. I don't want to hear that. And the funny thing about it is, after she told me the Pus Back story, if you understand what I'm saying by Pus Back story, when she told me that crap, oh God, he normally would show up at my house just randomly. He would normally want to hang out at the bar. He would normally come to my shows when I was near his city. But all of a sudden, oh hell no. Yeah, I'm gonna come see your show, ass. Then he didn't show up. He always showed up. Yeah, man, I'm gonna stop by the house. We're gonna kick it. Yeah, he did not stop by the house to kick it. Hey man, you buying a UFC fight? Yeah, I'm gonna be over there. Everybody gonna be over there. It's gonna be about 5-6 people. Cool. I'll be there. He didn't come. He never missed UFC fights or free beer. And I'm like, man, is our friendship falling apart? We've been boys since we were 10 years old. No, our friendship hadn't fallen apart. You know what had fallen apart? He knew I knew she had told me his Pus Back Stories. Oh, and he couldn't look me in the face. And I had to get him on the phone to go, look, man, yes, she told me your Pus Back Stories. And I did not want to hear your Pus Back Stories. I wanted you to keep that crap to yourself. And you had kept that crap to yourself. But your girlfriend did not keep that crap to herself. She thought she was helping you out. She thought she was connecting with your boy. She thought that if she told me, I could tell her some stuff and you guys would be cool. Ooh. And he didn't want to look me in the face. And I don't blame him. Because under normal circumstance, he had already told me enough gross crap. And I had already, let's be honest, we've been friends for a long period of time. We've been through a whole lot. I had been there through some Pus Back Stories where I was actually there at the time watching the pus come out of his back. Obviously, I'm speaking metaphorically. You picked up on that, right? Good. Right? In fact, we had a couple of double dates where he was in one room and I was in the other room. And I could hear the Pus Back Stories from his room, and he could hear the Pus Back Stories from my room. It was very obvious. Never mind. It's not about me. It's about him. I have no Pus Back Stories. This is my podcast. Don't judge me. Shut up. Back to the story. So what I'm saying is, sometimes it's not a great thing to be the responsible one. Because if you're the responsible one and everybody shares everything with you, you gotta hear all their Pus Back Stories. Right? So I'm wondering, should I start sprinkling in some bad advice? Is that a bad thing? Huh? Sprinkling a little bit of bad advice, Maybe tell somebody's secret, huh? Right? But, I could never actually do that. Like, even what I'm saying to you right now, I've protected the innocent. The person I'm referring to knows I'm talking about them. And as long as I don't say anything that identifies them, and I have not, it's cool. Right? And quite frankly, it's really easy to hide because I have so many friends that have been in that similar position where I'd had to listen to their disgusting Pus Back Stories. They don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. But I realize that maybe it's okay to be the responsible one that people always call. I guess that's my lot in life. And at 52 years old, I think basically I've kind of been burned into that position and there's really nothing I can do about it now. And I do like seeing my friends happy, and I do like knowing that if I say some crap and it works out for them, it works out great. I feel good about that. But I'll be honest with you, I think the only thing I could do, and if you're the Pus Back friend story, if you're the friend that hears the Pus Back Stories, I should say, and I'm pretty sure there's enough of you out there that just from the sheer number of you listening, that from statistically, there's going to be about 10% of you that hear the Pus Back Stories and give the advice. I think as the Pus Back Story catcher, the Pus Back Story recipient, the Pus Back Story historians, it is our job to continue to give good advice. It is our job, I guess, to protect our friends from being idiots. But what we have to do is we have to set boundaries, my friend. We gotta set some boundaries. We gotta let our friends who we love and who are sometimes idiots know, I've got office hours, my friend. And that's what I started to do. And that's what I started a 10 to 10 rule. Right? 10 to 10. Don't call me unless it's an emergency, of course. If it's an emergency, it is what it is. But if it's not an emergency, do not call me before 10 o'clock in the morning. And do not call me before 10 o'clock. No, I'm sorry. Don't call me after 10 o'clock in the evening. Yeah, I said it. Do you realize when you're the Pus Back Story historian of your friends, you literally have to tell your friends when you're doing something just so they'll know to leave you alone? I literally, during football season, used to have to tell my friends, if something's not on fire, do not call me on Sundays. I don't care what it is. If it's an emergency, that's different. But don't call me on Sundays. I'm watching football. And if there's a UFC night, well, actually, they'd probably be at the house with me. But okay, that's a moot point because they'd probably be there with me watching it. But that's a different story. But don't call me on Sundays. And I'm serious about the 10 to 10 thing. It's 10:02, man. I want to ask Anthony some dumbass questions that I could ask at any point tomorrow. And I've now gotten to the point where I think I've gotten my friends trained. So Pus Back Story collectors, Pus Back Story recipients, Pus Back Story leaders such as myself, let's make a pact. We are going to string up some boundaries, and we're not going to let anybody get past those boundaries. Are you with me? Good. Ha ha. See you next time. Once again, everybody, thank you very, very much for coming back. Obviously, the two shows next week will be on Wednesday and Friday. Those are the new show hours for now. Wednesdays and Fridays. Much love to you. Thanks for sticking with me. And I will see you next week. Take care.